Get ready for your daily dose of WordPress and web development tips, tricks, and insights to help you find success with WordPress. You're listening to WP the Podcast with your hosts, David Blackman and Tim Streifler.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today, we're going to talk about how many monitors do you really need for web design. And if you hear a lot of wind, I apologize. I'm outside recording in the backyard, which is awesome, but the wind just picked up. So
He's recording inside of a tornado.
I'm recording, and the show must go on, Tim. It must go on. Obviously, monitors are important. You're doing web design. You need to test things out. You need to be able to work and see what works. But we've got friends. Tim and I personally have friends that have upwards of 6, 7 monitors. How many monitors do you really need for web design, Tim?
Yeah, definitely. That is a great question. I'm of the opinion that 2 monitors is the most that you ever really need, because I think 2 monitors is helpful for certain things to be able to look back and forth. If you're copying something or you want, to compare something side by side or like a spreadsheet or something like that. But I personally don't think more than that is necessary, because if you're using, for example, a Mac, you can have different desktop spaces, as they call it. And so using keyboard shortcuts, you can flip back and forth. You can get to different apps using, Command Tab and all of that. And so I use 2, and then I just have all the keyboard shortcuts and all of that set up so I can flip back to different things if I want. Like, for example, with WP the Podcast, I keep a window with multiple tabs open with all my WP the Podcast. That way, when David and I jump on to record, I don't have to go and reopen everything. It's saved right there. And I put that in a separate space, as Matt calls it. So that's where I'm at. Other people might feel differently, but I can't think of a reason why a 3rd monitor would really be helpful. What do you think, David?
I'm going to go with how many, since the question is how many do you need, I'm going to say you only really need 1,
Yeah, that's a good point.
However, I'm with Tim. I mean, I have 2. I enjoy the 2. That works really good for me. I also use Mac. I use the multiple desktop spaces like he is referring to. Windows has something very similar, I do believe, also. So computers have come a long ways. And, but we've got a friend that has, I think he's got 6 monitors. He's just like, he's rolling, and it looks awesome. It looks like Command Center.
Yeah.
I don't really know how I would use, but I have 6. I'm on my laptop right now, and I'm in the backyard, as I stated, and so I'm not using multiple monitors to do this episode and stuff. I'm just using 1. However, I have 5 desktop spaces open that has everything I need to run the business. I've got everything WP the Podcast in one of the desktop spaces, and that's our Zoom call that Tim and I are on, QuickTime, which we're using to record it, and Chrome with the spreadsheet and all of our topics and notes for when we're recording and stuff. And then the other desktops have Slack and browsers and websites and stuff that are going on and stuff. So technically, I think you really only need 1, but 2 is probably optimal for web design, because you're going to want to see things, you're going to want to test things, and 2 is just awesome. It's awesome to have 2 monitors, right, Tim?
Heck yeah. Yeah,
Heck
absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah, no, thanks for clearing that up. You're right. You only need 1 for web design. But yeah, I would say 2 is definitely ideal. Cause there's other things too that I like about having 2. For example, there's certain things that I do on my second monitor. Like I have that's for example, like my development monitor where that's where I have Chrome and Chrome Dev Tools and stuff like that. And so like mentally having a certain area where I keep certain things is really helpful for my brain now that I've adapted to that. And so yeah, I think 2 is really helpful, but 1 is all you need.
Awesome. Well, tomorrow we've got another great topic. Tim, until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.
We've come to the end of today's episode of WP the Podcast. Join us tomorrow for more daily tips and strategies designed to help you run your WordPress business toward success. Remember to subscribe to WP the Podcast so you can stay up to date with each episode. And don't forget to rate and review us. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on WP the Podcast.